Greetings. I greet you in the name of our Father, Mother God, all divine souls on planet Earth. My name is Omulongo Wasswa. As I promised you previously that I'll be coming on different occasions to give you light on some of the spiritual topics, which I think need some enlightenment, especially in the Western world. There is this topic I taught in our local language or in our local community of the Baganda. Why the same spirit or divine being, let's say on the hierarchy of the Hieronyms, appear different on different soul journey of different souls. Let's give an example like maybe Saint Germain appearing on me, but it speaks to a different Saint Germain on another soul or human being asking help from my Saint Germain. This goes all on all divine beings that help us in the journey. But before I clarify on how it comes, I have to take you back how things began or how creation begins. First of all, as you know that an atom is the smallest unit of matter. That is according to the 3D. But within an atom, there is what we call the love light. In science, which you call a string. Now, love is mother, light is father. To make what you call a string in science. So that is the beginning of all creation. It starts from the love light. This love light produces a twin structure in number of two identical colors, that is in blue and golden. In science, this blue structure is called a proton. It's called a proton. These are twins. Though in the structure of an atom, there are 6 of them in each, but in actuality, the identical, all the colors are 2. So that's the reason why we say that it is a twin frame within the atom. Now, this proton is in blue color. In actuality, all gods are the same in all tribes. And the trick to understand which type of a god how is called in a different community, they don't change roles. So, like proton in science, in English, let me give you maybe the role, what you call in the Western world the sky god. Now you can evaluate which name or in the community that you are in. The sky god. In our Buganda community, we call him Ndaula. Ndaula is the first twin in the atom. So he makes the start of the atom. His twin brother which in science is called neutron. His twin brother, whom in science is called neutron, is in golden color, somehow golden. So is the second twin framework of the proton. This brother of his is the God in charge of Christ consciousness. Now, for us in Buganda, we call him Bulam. You understand? We call him Bulam. So these are the two I'm skeptical of which word to use, but these are the starting twin framework that make up an atom. Now, after these two, there is a link that encloses these twins, or the twin structure of an atom. Now, this is what we call the nucleus. That's what we call the nucleus. In English, you can call him the frame god. The frame god. In Luganda, we call him Lubanga. And in our culture, is the divine being who is in charge of preparing the twins or the twin frameworks in our culture. That goes all in all creation. From there, we get the second ring, which has a negative electron. This electron, or a negative electron, starts without wisdom. And then after it attains wisdom to become a positive electron. Now, this is a God in charge of wisdom in the English community. For us in Baganda, we call him Wandema when it's still in the negative electron, and then it turns Chitinda when it turns to be in a positive electron. So that makes up what we call an atom. An atom means something that cannot be separated. So, and an atom in English, you know well, that is the smallest unit of matter. Now, that is the journey of the creator. Now, the creator comes from an atom. Since they are all all creation is made up of an atom, then we all have these genetics. From there, then we start up an atom, start up the 5 elements of creation. The first element, these elements, they differ from the composition of the atoms. I don't know the number of atoms that make up a specific element, but let us use an example. Let's say the air element is made up of maybe 6 atoms. I'm just using, I don't know exactly the number of the atoms that make up the air element, but let us use 6 as an example. So when 6 atoms make up the air element, then 8 can make up the fire element. Then 10 can make up the water element. and then the earth, or what we call the soil, or the land, what we call what you call the earthing. The earthing can maybe be made up of 12, and then the sky 14. Now, all these 5 elements, they are made up of a kingdom, or a god that is in charge of that department in that elemental kingdom. Now, in Buganda, or among the white community, the god in charge of AI is called, maybe, I have an example. Some in the Western world, you call him Arios. For us in Baganda, we call him Musoke. So this is the god in charge of the air element. For us, we call him Musoke. Then the god in charge of fire, Western, I'm just giving an example. Sometimes you call him Ra, or Horus. So this is the god in charge of the fire element. Then the god in charge of the water element is Saint Germain. Saint Germain. In the Western, in Buganda, we call him Mukasa. Then the 4th element, which is earthing, is the same as Christ consciousness, but he changes, or it's a spirit that changes itself from life to death. So he's in charge of that too. And then the God who is in charge of the sky is the same as the proton. So now that makes up the 5 elements of all creation. Now, each creator is supposed to pass through all sections of these elemental kingdoms. All gods, as we start our journey, let's say if you started your journey as an atom and you experienced your life in the air element, after a certain time you go to the fire element. After passing that test, or the test also involved in the fire element, then you move to the water element. If you are done with the experiences in the water element, then you switch to the earthing, or the earth. From earth, then you go to the sky element. After that, then you start adding up, let's say two elements per session. As a creator, you start experiencing air and the fire element all at once. From there, you can also switch from maybe fire to water element, both of them concurrently. Then maybe water to earthing. You see? So you have to learn all these experiences and how you combine both of them. Afterwards, you start on a quadruple, or 3 elements. You can start on maybe air element. The creator start experiencing the air element at the same time with the fire element, at the same time with the water element. You can also use the same cycle on all other elements on a basis of 3. That's where you get what we call Trinity. As a human being, you breathe in air, you have temperature, and you are made up of water. You understand? Also, after experiencing some other, these all other elements, that's the reason why you have the earthing. And then you have the sky that makes up your outer bodies in your aura as a creator, where you find your twin, your higher self, and your kingdom that surrounds you as a creator. Now, so these elements keep on developing within you, and they appear the same, and they are the same. And each creator has a portion of all the kingdoms of these elements. Now, I'm answering the question why you can find yourself that you have the same element which asks help from a different soul of the same name. Let's say the fire element, of which my fire element is asking me that there is something that I'm supposed to be done to clean up maybe the darkness within the kingdom of that fire element. But asking help from the same spirit, let's say, of the same fire element on a different person. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you dig 1,000 holes. You keep on you get water from one water source, and then you pour it in different holes around until all of them 1,000 fill up. Now, in the journey or in the process, out of free will, a soul has its free will to move the way it wants. Now, let's say one hole can be filled with dirt, another one with maybe some oil. You understand? I'm just giving an example. Also, others with mud. But doesn't make that the composition of the water from the same source is different. It's the same, but there is, because of the free will and because the soul is moving and using this, is manipulating these energies in a different way, then it causes the changes in the elements per each soul journey. So you can find one soul having maybe all his elements balanced in his spiritual kingdom, and then another asking help from this one which has a balanced energy for help. But when you find yourself that they are the same elements or same spiritual gods that are asking help from a different or the same from a different soul, from a different human being who certainly you can find that they are pronouncing the same names. Let's say Saint Germain of a different human being or by a soul is asking help from maybe let's say from me, but having the same element king or element god. Let's say Saint Germain asking me or asking another. for help, but knowing that they appear to be the same in their structure composition or in their creation. Now, these are the exams that we as souls have to face. Our journey starts straight away from the elements, and we keep on graduating. We graduate after experiencing all that, then we add up, and then we come to different dimensions. As a soul, it keeps on changing only the growth. It can go through ants, birds, animals, trees, and then eventually it graduates to a human kingdom, which also graduates from the density, a lower density, to other dimensions which are lighter. You understand? So that is the reason why you can find that the same divine being can be on a different human being of the same name, but asking help from another human being or divine being in flesh, so that they learn the lessons. So that is how creation is made. We all come from the same source. That's the reason why they keep on telling us that we are all love. Because all we came from the same source, which is Father, Mother, God. The smaller the element, the bigger or the more influence it has on everything. So our Father, Mother, God is in every creation. But in actuality, in the exams that we are passing, they might appear different, but the same. You have to just learn how to clear your darkness and your light, and how you can master the lessons in each kingdom and balance them within your kingdom, and then advance from one dimension to another. They are our spiritual teachers. They are the teachers in charge. And that is the reason why we have the 9 kingdoms or spiritual kingdoms that govern all creation. Starting from our Father, Mother, God, Father, God, Mother, God, then the twins, which is the sky God and the Christ God, then the frame God, who is the nucleus, the other one, the twins, the proton and the neutron, and then the electron, which starts from the negative to a positive, and it is all in one to make up that makes up 6. Then the remaining 3 elements, because remember the last 2 elements I told you, they are the same twins within the atom. So to make up the 9 kingdoms that govern all creation, you add up these 3 elements, which is air, governed by the god of air, fire, governed by the god of fire, and then water, governed by the god of water. So that's the reason why you might find you can enter a different, or you can enter a place and you find that you have the same spiritual being welcomed by the same spiritual being on a different entity or a different human being, or many human beings, but having the same spiritual being, pronouncing the same or being called the same name. I'm sorry if you didn't understand me well. This language is it's plain to me, but let me hope you've got my message. I send you my divine light, fellow gods. I love you, and I ask you to create your world. Get within. Know that the world that you seek is within you. Create the world you want. Stop to be manipulated by the outside world. The basis of your power is within you. And the basic lesson that why you came here as a spirit, to discover that the power is within you. You are a divine soul that is temporarily in a uniform, which is called the body of a human. You've been here in different lifetimes. You are your own ancestors, having different firmaments of your spirit that you've been depositing in different locations. Use your discernment to pick on the words that you've heard and everything that you'll be hearing in your journey. The truth is within you. I love you so much. Bye for now.